knowing you, you didn't come from a technology background. You came from a background where you've done jobs which were ground, like grassroots. And from there today, when I hear you sitting with entrepreneurs talking technology, is for me surprising. How did you evolve as a person? How does it not worry you? And where do you get the confidence to talk futuristic businesses when that is not your background or education?
The best education of life is the experience and exposure that you get. The second best education is reading people who have read a lot of books. And when you do both of these together, you can really unfold a life journey that you have never planned for. That's point number one. Point number two is in the 90s, technology was the booming sector. I always have the pulse of hanging on to the right trends. Like today we call about what is the most trending business. Now trend and trending and trends, all of these are words which I've started hearing for the last 10-15 years. But during my young days, when I was in my 20s, there was no word called trend and trending. So I need to make guesswork. I'm a student of commerce and I did my education in commerce. I'm a commerce graduate. I realized one thing, that whatever is trending needs to be known before it starts trending. In the early 90s, I realized when liberalization took place in India, of course, liberalization is a word that I understand today. I didn't understand it then in the 90s, but when I understood that if this sector is opening up and it can be an opportunity zone, I trained my guns towards computers. That time we didn't call it as information technology. For us, it was a simple single word, computer, and that caught my fancy. Something that too many people don't know about is something which is unique, and something which is unique has a great niche and a great future. So whenever in my journey as an entrepreneur, I find anything that's unique, I try to become a part of it. You need to ride the wave, but not fall in love with that wave. You need to drop and climb another wave when the seasonality of that business gets saturated. For example, with St. Angelo's Computers Limited, which I started in 1993, the wave went on till 2017. By the time I reached 2017, I realized that computer education is now available in schools and colleges, so we really need to diversify. My journey of diversification didn't start in 2017. It started around 2003, 2004. That's where I entered into the real estate segment. So always diversify when you are at the peak of your growth journey in that particular line of business that you are into. Do not try to look out for a new business idea when you are on the bottom side of the wave, because you might end up taking the wrong decision. So when you are at your peak, ideate on what's going to change, what's the new trend, what is the political scenario in the country, what's the political scenario globally, what is the situation in the multiple ecosystems that you're a part of, and then take a calculated call and move forward. So I went into multiple business ventures purely because the trends kept changing. So what business I do is immaterial, but my only business is risk mitigation. Whenever I venture into the business, I make an analysis of what's the risk in that particular business in terms of rules, regulations, finance, changing trends, infrastructure investment, capital investment, the risk of getting taken for a ride. I make calculations of all these aspects and then I create a strategy. But what I do interestingly is I always make new rules in an old sector or an ongoing sector. That's how I differentiate myself to any sector that I venture into. Every game has a rule. Different games have different rules and you need to understand the rules of that game very, very well. Like I love to say this and I would love to say this again, that in a football, you can't pick the ball, you need to kick the ball. In the handball, you can't kick the ball, you need to pick the ball. So if you learn the rules of the game of any business that you get into, you will definitely become a winner. I also tell my friends and I tell my people and my circle in which I do business conversations like Business Opportunities Club, I tell people that buying profit is a better profit than selling profit. Because when you are selling your product or service, your buyer needs to benefit more than what you benefit. But when you are a customer to somebody else, when you are the buyer, your buying profit needs to be there. You can control your buying profit, but the selling profit is determined by your customer and the market of that particular segment or sector. So this is one thing that I very clearly understand and I apply it in all the businesses that I do, whether it is restaurants, whether it is resorts, whether it is investing into other people's companies, or whether it is investing into real estate business or the education sector. So I follow this principle of your buying needs to be interesting and exciting. As an entrepreneur, I also believe that I don't compromise on the terms. Business is a business of greed if you get sold to the idea of a perception that you have built which might not be ratified or verified. So rather than getting and becoming a prey of your greed or a wrong perception, you really need to analyze at the beginning stage itself on what's going to be your journey in this particular business line. So risk mitigation is critically important. Also, whom are you getting associated with? What is the ecosystem of that person with whom you are getting associated with? So I've got a very fixed mindset and I don't compromise on the policies that are defined in the businesses that I operate. Even if 1% of mine, so suppose if I'm getting into a business or getting into a collaboration with somebody, I've got 10 points to be implemented. Even if I am not able to implement 1 point, I'll back out. No matter what is the loss that might be incurred, potential loss, because I've not started a business still. So however lucrative the opportunity might be, even if there is one condition of mine which is not matching, I'll fall back. I will come out of it. I will not go for it.